All right, good morning, everyone. It's 8:30. I'll call this virtual business committee meeting to order. As a reminder that in virtual meetings, we need to maintain our cameras on for the business committee when we are present, and that all votes will be a roll call vote. All right, looks like everybody has a camera on. We have 5 business committees present, myself, Secretary Lisa Liggins, Treasurer Larry Barton, Councilmember Marlon Skinador, and Councilmember Jameson Wilson. Councilwoman Jennifer Webster is on approved travel, and so is Councilman Jonas Hill. That's it for the housekeeping. Any volunteers for a prayer this morning?
Sure thing, Mr. Chairman.
All right, go ahead. Go for it. Thank you.
Yeah. I'll do my best to put through our Gunahela Dunksla, which is what we use to extend our greetings and thankfulness to all of creation. So if I miss anything, please forgive me. Here we go. Da swadahunsioste ona jinate ohondu yoliwadedu. Sego uska gia dwatwe nuni ungwa nigula. Dahetwanwe la du sunkwaya dizu. Ji agwegu oskana yungwanu dunyo. Ne ongwe hoguha. Da tonio duhak ne igwa nigul. Sego uska gia dwatwe nuni ungwa nigula. Daetino wela du yunki nuha ohunja. Ji segu yodli wakta je duhadi da tonio duhak ne igwa nigul. Segu uska gia dwatwe nuni ungwa nigula. Daetino wela du onegonoso guha. Jitse gu yungwats du hajis da tonio duhak ne igwa nigul. Segu uska gia dwatwe nuni ungwa nigula. Daetino wela du nya dagunjige jitse gu yungwats du hajis da tonio duhak ne igwa nigul. Segu uska gia dwatwe nuni ungwa nigula. Daetwanu wela du Kaknio hunde sawahite, jitse gu, yodli wakta je duhadi, da tonio duhak ne igwa nigul. Segu uska gia dwatwe nuni ungwa nigula. Daetwanu wela du, oyunkwa uwe, jitse gu yungwats du hajis, da tonio duhak ne igwa nigul. Segu uska gia dwatwe nuni ungwa nigula. Daetino wela du asanate gunda nundele jitse gu gundigwe gu yonadli wakta je duhadi da tonio duhak ne igwa nigul. Segu uska gia dwatwe nuni ungwa nigula. Daetino wela du onegli suha jitse gu yonadli wakta je duhadi da tonio duhak ne igwa nigul. Segu uska gia dwatwe nuni ungwa nigula. Daetino wela du ononkwa toguha jitse gu yonadli wakta je duhadi da tonio duhak ne igwa nigul. Segu uska gia dwatwe nuni ungwa nigula. Daetino wela du nya degalun dage jitse gu yonadli wakta je duhadi da tonio duhak ne igwa nigul. Segu uska gia dwatwe nuni ungwa nigula. Daetino wela du nya dega jit nu wage jitse gu yonadli wakta je duhadi da tonio duhak ne igwa nigul. Segu uska gia dwatwe nuni ungwa nigula. Daitino wela du gundilio oguha jitse gu yeti akat du hajis da tonio duhak ne higwa nigula. Segu uska gia dwatwe nuni ungwa nigula. Daitino wela du ojita hasuha jitse gu yeti akat du hajis da tonio duhak ne higwa nigula. Segu uska gia dwatwe nuni ungwa nigula. Daitino wela du owela suha jitse gu lonadli wakta je duhadi da tonio duhak ne higwa nigula. Segu uska gia dwatwe nuni ungwa nigula. Daitino wela du yoti sota ladisungayondeze jitse gu lonadli wakta je duhadi da tonio duhak ne higwa nigula. Segu uska gia dwatwe nuni ungwa nigula. Daitino wela du yunki sota kwa asuta geka we nidale jitse gu yodli wakta je duhadi da tonio duhak ne higwa nigula. Segu uska gia dwatwe nuni ungwa nigula. Dahitwano wela du odaha sunkwa jiha wakta geka we nidale jitse gu lodli wakta je duhadi da tonio duhak ne higwa nigula. Segu uska gia dwatwe nuni ungwa nigula. Daitino wela du yoji stokwa lu jitse gu lonadli wakta je duhadi da tonio duhak ne higwa nigula. Segu uska gia dwatwe nuni ungwa nigula. Daitino wela du gaye ni hanangwedege jitse gu yunkit nagula dajis da tonio duhak ne higwa nigula. Segu uska gia dwatwe nuni ungwa nigula. Dahitwano wela du skanyataliyo jit nate solewayanto ne ganahila dunksla da tonio duhak ne higwa nigula. Segu uska gia dwatwe nuni ungwa nigula. Dahitwano wela du sankwayadizu ne olewagwegu lowi anadao da tonio duhak ne higwa nigula. Dale.
Yo, y'all go.
Yo.
All right, with that brings us to the adoption of the agenda. Secretary Liggins, are there some changes to the agenda?
Yes, there is, Mr. Chairman. I do want to just touch on a couple of items within the SOP for holding a virtual meeting. In 5.1, the chair of section 5.1 of the SOP, we need an explanation for the record as to why the meeting is held virtually from the chairman. Additionally, all the roll calls will be taken at the beginning and the end to demonstrate the presence of quorum. So if we haven't done that, we need to do that. I know you listed off. The business committee members need to respond verbally. And then additionally, all BC members have to have their video camera on during the entire meeting. If there's a tech issue as to why they can't have their camera on, they need to let us know because we have to note that for the record.
All right, thank you, Lisa, for the rundown. Yep, we're having a virtual meeting this morning because of inclement weather. The offices are closed until 10 a.m. and so we're scheduled to start at 8. So we just figured might as well have the virtual meeting to keep things on schedule and moving. And I will go through the roll call. Secretary Liggins.
Present.
Treasurer Larry Barton.
Present.
Councilman Jameson Wilson.
Gunto, present.
Councilman Marlon Scanador.
Present.
And then Councilwoman Jennifer Webster is on approved travel, and so is Councilman Jonas Hill. Not present for the meeting.
Chairman.
Oh, Kirby, Councilman Kirby Metoxen.
Just so you guys are aware, my laptop isn't allowing me to check in. As soon as I hit join, it kicks me out. So I don't know what's going on with mine. So I have my phone on and I'm on my phone, and then I have my laptop on for the agenda.
All right, thank you for the notice.
And then, Larry, can you turn your camera on, or are you having tech issues?
Oh, I can see him.
Oh, you can? Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
He's on the page 2 of the, and then Kirby's on
Highlight,
page 3.
we'll highlight him for everybody, so he's on page 1. Just kidding. Okay. So the agenda today, thank you everyone for getting us through that administrative stuff to comply with the SOP. There are 4 add-on requests for the agenda today. The first 2 are coming as new business items in open session. They're both from the election board. They're requesting to accept as information the notice to cancel the special election. And then the second is a request to increase the number of paid meeting stipends for the United Election Board. The other 2 add-ons are new business and executive session. The first would be discuss and determine next steps regarding memorandum for Wisconsin Bacon Trust accounts. And then the second is to accept the memorandum regarding alternate funding options for Head Start programming as information. So that's 4 add-ons. There are 2 requested deletions from the agenda. Back to open session under travel request. Councilwoman Jennifer Webster is asking for the 20th annual government to government violence against women tribal consultation to be deleted from the agenda. That's item A. And then in executive session under new business, item 2, determine next steps for alternate representative on the offender reentry programs. That item can also be deleted from the agenda. So that's 6 changes.
Can you repeat the last one? Executive new business number 2?
That's correct. Regarding the offender reentry program appointment or alternate. If
All
there's
right.
no questions, I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda with the
Second.
6 noted changes.
Larry.
All right, motion by Lisa, seconded by Larry. Any other further discussion on the adoption of the agenda? Not seeing any hands being raised, so we will roll call vote. Lisa,
Support.
Larry,
Support.
Kirby,
Support.
Jameson,
Support.
Marlon.
Support.
All right, motion carries unanimously. That brings us to minutes. Item A, approve the November 12th, 2025 regular business committee meeting minutes.
So moved.
Motion by
Second,
Lisa,
Larry.
second by Larry. Any further discussion? Not seeing any hands being raised, so roll call vote. Lisa,
Support.
Larry,
Support.
Kirby,
Support.
Jameson,
Support.
Marlon.
Support.
All right, motion carries. That brings us to item B, approve the November 24th, 2025 special business committee meeting minutes.
So moved.
Motion
Second.
by Lisa, seconded by Jameson. Any further discussion? All right, not seeing any hands being raised, we will roll call vote. Lisa,
Support.
Larry,
Support.
Kirby,
Support.
Jameson,
Support.
Marlon.
Support.
All right, motion carries. All right, that brings us to resolutions. Item A, adopt resolution entitled amending BC Resolution 92524E, Tribal Contribution Savings, Final Obligation Opportunity, Boundary Signage Project CDC 19-007.
Motion
So
to
moved.
approve the resolution, Larry. here.
Second.
Motion by Larry, seconded by Lisa. Any further discussion? All right, not seeing any hands being raised. Roll call vote. Lisa,
Support.
Larry,
Support.
Kirby,
Support.
Jameson,
Support.
Marlon.
Support.
All right, motion carries. Moving on to item B, adopt resolution entitled obligation for tribal contribution savings for commerce development consult contract.
I'll make the motion to approve the resolution, Larry.
Second.
All right, Larry makes the motion, seconded by Jameson. Any further discussion? All right, not seeing any hands being raised, we'll roll call vote. Lisa,
Support.
Larry,
Support.
Kirby,
Support.
Jameson,
Support.
Marlon.
Support.
All right, motion carries. Moving on to appointments, determine next steps regarding 4 vacancies for the Oneida Election Board Ad Hoc Committee.
Mr. Chairman,
Lisa,
I will make a motion to accept the selected applicants to appoint Justine Huff and Mary King to a term ending December 31st, 2026, and to request the secretary to renotice the remaining vacancies.
Second.
all right, motion by Lisa, seconded by Jameson. Any further discussion? All right, not seeing any hands being raised, we'll roll call vote. Lisa,
Support.
Larry,
Support.
Kirby,
Support.
Jameson,
Support.
Marlon.
Support.
All right, motion carries. That brings us to standing committees. Item A, Finance Committee, number 1, accept the November 13th, 2025 regular Finance Committee meeting minutes.
So
So
moved.
moved. Support.
Motion by Lisa, supported by Kirby. Any further discussion? Seeing no hands being raised, we will roll call vote. Lisa,
Support.
Larry,
Support.
Kirby,
Support.
Jameson,
Support.
Marlon.
Support.
All right, motion carries. Moving on to item 2, accept the November 20th, 2025 regular Finance Committee meeting minutes.
So moved.
Motion by Kirby, second by Marlon. Discussion? All right, seeing no hands being raised, we'll roll call vote. Lisa,
Support.
Larry,
Support.
Kirby,
Support.
Jameson,
Support.
Marlon.
Support.
All right, motion carries. That brings us to item B, Legislative Operating Committee, number 1, accept the November 5th, 2025 regular Legislative Operating Committee meeting minutes.
So move,
So moved.
Larry.
Support.
Motion by Larry, supported by Kirby. Discussion? Seeing no hands being raised, we'll roll call vote. Lisa,
Support.
Larry,
Support.
Kirby,
Support.
Jameson,
Support.
Marlon.
Support.
All right, motion carries. That brings us to item C, the Onondaga Ni'i Standing Committee. Number 1, accept the August 5th, 2025 regular Onondaga Ni'i Standing Committee meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second,
Motion by-
Larry.
Motion by Lisa, seconded by Larry. Discussion?
I'll add into my motion, October 7th, if the motioners, the seconders in agreement.
Barry, you agree with also accepting the October 7th
Yes.
meeting minutes?
Thank
Okay.
you.
Right, motion has been amended to include both August 5th and October 7th into the motion to accept the minutes. Any other discussion? Seeing none, we'll roll call vote. Lisa,
Support.
Larry,
Support.
Kirby,
Support.
Jameson,
Support.
Marlon.
Support.
All right, motion carries. Moving on to travel reports. Item A, approved travel report, Councilman Jonas Hill to Indigenous BizCon in Milwaukee, October 10th through the 12th of 25.
So move. Second.
All right, motion by Marlon, seconded by Jameson. Discussion. Seeing none, we'll roll call vote. Lisa,
Support.
Larry,
Support.
Kirby,
Support.
Jameson,
Support.
Marlon.
Support.
All right, motion carries. Item B, approved travel report for Councilman Jonas Hill to the American Indigenous Tourism Conference in Choctaw, Mississippi, October 26th through the 30th of 2025.
Support.
Second. Larry.
Motion by Lisa, second by Larry. Discussion. Seeing none, we'll vote. Roll call vote. Lisa,
Yes.
Larry,
Support.
Kirby,
Support.
Jameson,
Support.
Marlon.
Support.
All right, motion carries. Moving on to item C, approved travel report for Councilman Jonas Hill to the 13th Annual Indian Law CLE Wisconsin Dells, November 5th through the 7th of 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Kirby, seconded by Marlon. Discussion. Seeing none, we'll roll call vote. Lisa,
Support.
Larry,
Support.
Kirby,
Support.
Jameson,
Support.
Marlon.
Support.
All right, motion carries. That brings us to item D, approved travel report for Councilman Kirby Metoxen to the Department of Agricultural Trade and Consumer Protection, Tourism, and Department of Natural Resources in Kashina, October 14th through the 15th.
So moved.
Second. Larry.
Motion by Lisa, second by Larry. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll vote. Roll call vote. Lisa,
Yes.
Larry,
Support.
Kirby,
Abstain.
Jameson,
Support.
Marlon.
Support.
All right, motion carries with one abstention. Kirby. That brings us to the next section of travel requests. Item A was deleted, so we're moving on to item B. Approved travel request for Councilman Kirby Metoxen to Reservation Economic Summit in Las Vegas, Nevada, March 22nd through the 27th of 2026.
So moved.
Motion by Marlon,
Second for discussion.
second for discussion. Lisa, go ahead.
Thanks. I just checking, in that usually we have more than one person going, if there's anybody else interested, and then additionally just checking for quorum, because I believe that's a regular BC meeting week.
Jameson?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Further clarification on this, Larry had brought forward this travel request to go to Reservation Economic Summit probably back in October, and we approved 3 to go at the time. So that's just a little bit of backstory history behind the this particular travel request.
And then
This is the second one, but
are those 3 already identified?
Yes.
Okay.
yeah,
So this would
Larry,
be a
Jonas, and I.
So this was an extra add-on, and
Larry
I
Jonas.
do note that we were going to be canceling that week's BC meeting because there wasn't going to be a quorum anyways.
With 3. 2, 3. 18 and Jonas. Okay, I just want to make sure that we all, because I know it's in the packet, but then just making sure that the 3 spots we already approved are full. This would be a 4th attending, and that we would need to cancel the second meeting in March. So I'll work with the chairman's office to get that notice out.
One more, I guess, response is this would be funded through the NATO funding. So that wouldn't be tribal contributions.
All right, thank you for the note, Kirby. Jameson?
Just asking if the motioner and seconder would agree to make it more than one, like 2, if we're going to plan on canceling the BC meeting in the event that somebody else may want to attend.
I'm not interested.
All right, any other discussion? All right, not seeing any other discussion. There is a motion by Marlon, second by Lisa, to approve the travel request for 1, Kirby Metoxen, in addition to the other 3. With that, we'll go to the roll call vote. Lisa?
Support.
Larry?
Support.
Kirby?
Abstain.
Jameson?
Support.
Marlon?
Support.
All right, motion carries with 1 abstention. Kirby. Moving on to item C, approve travel request for Councilman Jameson Wilson to the National Congress of American Indians Executive Council Winter Session in Washington, D.C., February 7th through the 12th of 2026.
So moved.
Motion by Marlon, supported by Lisa. Any further discussion? Jameson?
No, Mr. Chair, just wanted to mention that this is a somewhat of a requirement to go to this conference with my new responsibility as the alternate Midwest region vice president. So it'll be our first trip out to DC for this particular conference. We'll be hitting the hill out there and talking to some people in Congress and in the Senate. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other discussion? Kirby?
Yeah, would this be something that we would add on should any other council members want to attend the NCAI midwinter?
You could. Generally, we approve up to 3 with these larger conferences.
Right, and NCAI, I think I would prefer that approve it now instead of having to come back and do it later. And we can decide later on who goes, but up to 3, if the motioners would approve to add that on there.
So Councilman Wilson and up to 2 additional.
Yes.
I'm okay with that if Marlon is.
I'm good with that.
All right, so the motion is to approve Councilman Jameson Wilson and up to 2 additional council members. Any other discussion? All right, seeing none, we'll roll call vote. Lisa?
Support.
Larry?
Support.
Kirby?
Support.
Jameson?
Support.
Marlon?
Support.
All right, motion carries. That brings us to item D, approved travel request in accordance with 219.16-1 Oneida Nation Veterans Affairs Committee for 9 members and Tribal Veteran Service Officer, so the 81st Annual Iwo Jima Flag Raising in Sacaton, Arizona, February 19th through the 23rd of 2026.
Move to approve, Larry.
Second.
Larry made the motion, second by Lisa. Discussion? Seeing none, we'll roll call vote. Lisa?
Support.
Larry?
Support.
Kirby?
Support.
Jameson?
Support.
Marlon?
Support.
All right, motion carries. And then brings us to item E, enter e-poll results of the record regarding approved travel request for Councilman Kirby Metoxen to attend the Pijoqua Pueblo Feast Day in Pijoqua, New Mexico, December 11th through the 14th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Jameson, second by Lisa. Any further discussion?
It's Pewaukee.
Milwaukee. All right, thank you. With that, we will roll call vote. Lisa,
Support.
Larry,
Support.
Kirby,
Abstain.
Jameson,
Support.
Marlon.
Support.
All right, motion carries. All right, that brings us to new business. Item A, approve the Trust Enrollment Committee bylaws.
So moved. Just a quick for discussion.
Kirby makes the motion. Is there a second? First call for a second.
I'll second it. Larry.
Second by Larry. Discussion, Kirby?
Yeah, this is the trust enrollment bylaws that we've been waiting for since I started on the council 9 years ago. And there was the boards, committees, and commissions law where all the boards, committees, and commissions were to update their bylaws. Some of them were as old as 20, 25 years old. And so they just needed to be gone through by those particular boards and submitted. We've been waiting. This has taken a long time for it to get to this point for approval. This is the last board of the 32 boards, committees, and commissions within the tribal structure to submit their bylaws. And I know we never took formal actions, but at times there were times when I felt the only authority the business committee had was to suspend stipends for being in violation of the boards, committees, and commissions law. And so the dilemma here was the trust enrollment committee did not feel they had to abide by the boards, committees, and commissions law because they are elected body, and we were asking them to update their bylaws, but they were in violation of the boards, committees, and commissions law. So I'm excited that this happened during my tenure as a council member, and it's a long time coming.
All right, thank you, Kirby. Lisa?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you, Kirby. I agree with the sentiment on the compliance with the boards, committees, and commissions law. However, I do have a question, and I'm not sure if anybody from trust committee is on to answer the question. In that, in the current version of the bylaws, there's the backup doesn't note any distinct changes to the bylaws. In that the makeup of the board is similar. It's taking their current bylaws and reformatting it in. They're not really noting that there's any significant changes. We don't have a red line to go from to show what the changes were, if any. In the bylaws itself, it's noting that one of the members of the trust enrollment committee need to be a member of the business committee. That remains the same. There hasn't been like a determination on, if it's the highest vote getter, who it is. It just needs to be one BC member. That remains the same with the current bylaws. I do have a question, and I don't see it specifically outlined in here. In the current bylaws, there isn't a section that really addresses personnel. However, in the duties, it notes that the committee is responsible for providing direction to the department, that the directors, because there was 2 directors at the time of the trust enrollment departments, are responsible to the full committee, and then under the immediate supervision of the chair or his or her designee, and that director complies with all directives of the committee and cooperates with the members and representatives of the committee. in the current version of the bylaws, it appears that there's been a change in how they're choosing to manage the director position. It's noting in the responsibilities of the chairperson on line 137 that trust director, that the chairperson supervises the trust director and only inviting input from the committee for the purposes of an eval. And then later on, when it talks about personnel, it notes that the committee has the authority to hire. However, it notes that the duties of the trust director shall be per directive, not of the committee, but of the chairperson or the chairperson's designees. So to me, that's a bit of a shift. And I'm not sure if that's something that the committee consciously made a change to, or because I feel like it's to me, it's a drastic change between the committee chair having the authority, sole authority over the directorship. That's what is in the draft bylaws before us today. And the prior version where it was under the committee's purview, that position's taking directive from the full committee, direct supervision, day-to-day supervision underneath the chairperson. So to me, that's a drastic change. And so I'm not sure if that's something, and it's not noted anywhere. So I'm wondering if there's anybody on that can answer that question, if that's something that the committee itself made a conscious effort when doing this approval.
If there's anyone from the committee, please raise your hand. I'll go to Jameson in the meantime.
He's
I
on the
guess
committee.
that's I.
Oh, yes.
You're asking me to pull something back from probably over a year ago. My recall ability isn't as strong as yours, Secretary Liggins, but I know that we've had a couple of sessions where we reviewed these, and Attorney Carl Arman was there to kind of guide, like, if we had any questions about the legality and things like that, he was there to answer some of those questions. As you can see in his legal opinion or his legal review, he talks like the main point was which you had covered, Lisa's, whether the discussion about having a business committee member serving on the board, and what that looks like. Is it going to be the person the council member that has the most votes? There's a discussion about maybe the treasurer for the Oneida Business Committee should serve in that position. So that was like the biggest discussion point that we had from what I recall. I'm going to say that the Trust Enrollment Committee, the current administration, was aware of the changes that they were about to make with regard to how the Oneida Trust Enrollment Director reports to solely the chairperson, and then the chairperson only has to consult with the rest of the committee on how they're supervising the Trust Enrollment Director position. But let me ask this. So like for next steps, if we can't move this forward today, sounds like a red line would be helpful. I think it would be helpful for all of us, coming from the Legislative Operating Committee. It's always nice to see the red line so that you can see what changes are made compared, like from the current bylaws to proposed amendments or changes to bylaws. You can see those clear as day when there's a red line. So Lisa, if we were not to approve these today, what would be a recommended action? One would bring forward a red line, I presume, and then maybe like a memorandum explaining the justification or their reasoning behind that particular change with the chairperson responsibilities to the Oneida Trust Enrollment Director.
Lisa,
right track.
Thank you, Jameson and Mr. Chairman. I think two options. The motion on the floor could be withdrawn. We could do a motion to table. It would stay on our agenda. And then I would just ask that you follow up with those two questions. The only And I probably wouldn't notice with any other area, but I worked there for a long time. I sat on it. To me, it's a change. So I guess that's the question that I had. Didn't take the time to reach out in advance of the meeting today. So that's a failing on my part as well. So I think just a memo from the committee, just noting that they're aware that this change is what their intent is. So with that, I'll make a motion to table.
All right, Lisa's making a motion to table, which kind of overrules the motion to approve the bylaws at this point. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Marlon. Okay.
Discussion.
There is no discussion on motions to table, Kirby and Yasmin.
Is it a procedural question?
Yes, my question was, we have 32 boards, committees, and commissions in the tribal structure. I don't recall in approving any of those boards, committees, and commissions bylaws that we requested a red line copy of of updating their bylaws. And I'm just concerned that we're focusing on this one. It's taken 9 years to get this far. I don't care who they report to, they submitted it. And so I just want to get it approved, and then we have all boards, committees, and commissions bylaws. They are in conformance to the bylaws. Boards, committees, and commissions bylaws. Law.
Mr. Chair, this is a procedural question.
Procedure. Go ahead, Jameson.
So there was a motion by Kirby, seconded by Larry. Is that just wiped, or is there action that you take to wipe the slate clean for another motion to be made?
Not at this point. There is a motion by Lisa, second by Marlon, to table this particular item. So it just puts a stop to it. When we could motion to take from the table again later, or essentially immediately, I guess, at any time, take from the table, and we would be back to the motion that's on the floor, which is to approve. And then we would have to ask the motioner and seconder to withdraw or vote it up or down, and then take subsequent action.
Thank you.
All right, and then so no discussion on the motion to table. So we will roll call vote on the motion to table this particular item. Lisa?
Support.
Larry?
Support.
Kirby?
Opposed.
Jameson?
Support.
And Marlon?
Support.
All right, motion carries with one opposed. Kirby? This item is tabled for now. Moving on to item B, accept the Oneida Gaming Facilities Inspection Report. Starts on page 186 of the packet.
I'll make a motion to accept this information.
All right, Lisa makes the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second, then I have a comment.
All right, seconded by Larry. Discussion, Larry?
Yes, I don't see called out in the list, the Oneida Hotel. It's probably encumbered in the main casino, but just making sure next year that does enter the list for purpose of inspection. It might be on there in some facet or form. Of course, we've not owned it for an extended period of time. There might be a one-off inspection, but I just have to ask the question. I see Troy Parr's hand up. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Larry. Troy? Go ahead, Troy. Oh, might be having technical difficulties with the mic. I see the mic is open, but no sound is coming through. Might have to put it in the chat if it's a quick answer.
Chat for this meeting's off, so we could send
Oh.
it to any of us.
Okay. Yeah, I guess if you just provided an email response, Troy, and send it to the committee. All right, any other discussion? All right, seeing none, we'll roll call vote. Lisa,
Support.
Larry,
Support.
Kirby,
Support.
Jameson,
Support.
Marlon.
Support.
All right, motion carries. Thank you, everyone, for that. Moving on to item C, accept the memorandum regarding withholding of pay for Councilman Marlon Scanador.
Motion to accept, noting that there's two memorandums. The handout was submitted to cover last week. So I'll make
All
a
right,
motion to
second.
accept both
Second.
memorandum.
All right, motion by Lisa, seconded by Jameson. Discussion.
Memoranda, not memorandum.
All right, not seeing any additional discussion, we'll roll call vote. Lisa,
Support.
Larry,
Support.
Kirby,
Support.
Jameson,
Support.
Marlon.
Support.
All right, motion passes. Moving on to item D, review the approval of the National Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Program Grant Agreement. Mark?
Just some background regarding this request. The grant was previously applied for by the Oneida Nation Casino with the support of Oneida Engineering Solutions. The grant was to support was to support electric vehicle charging at the Mason Street Casino location. Currently, the request is to support the grant application. This grant consists of an 80% federal share, which is roughly $406,000, and a 20% non-federal share, which is roughly $100,000. This is a reimbursable grant based on paid receipts for the expended amount during the project performance period. You may recall that through BC Resolution 32625D, that did allocate the funding to cover our non-federal share, which is covered by the EDSED fund, which is the Economic Development, Diversification, and Community Development Fund. As you may be aware, there are efforts by at the federal level to claw back previously awarded grant funding for renewable energy projects or electric vehicle projects. This grant is out of the previous administration, and we certainly do not want to delay any part of the process to acquire access to the funds for this project. And so we are looking for an approval here so that we can move forward with the with the project. Oh, sorry, I have one other thing to add. This was previously awarded to the casino. There was a request to move the grant under nation services. So we did accommodate that request so that explains why I'm the sponsor for this as opposed to the Oneida Casino. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mark, for the rundown. Lisa?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A couple of questions. I know that our CFO shared some concerns via email with the committee yesterday, and there's been some responses to most of those questions. Still a few outstanding. However, I do have a question as to the approval that's being requested. In the cover on the agenda request form, it's saying the recommendation of the legal review that a business committee approval is required prior to execution. And looking at the legal review, is it just an approval or is it a limited waiver of sovereign immunity? Because that's what's noted there. If so, that's a different motion. So I just want to clarify what the requested action is. And then generally there's if it's a limited waiver, there's these 4 questions that we normally cover. An attempt to negotiate with the vendor, were 3 bids obtained, other vendors willing to remove that issue, and what would be the cost with going elsewhere. I know it's a grant relationship, so some of those won't apply, but I didn't see any responses to those questions in the documentation.
All right, thank you, Lisa. I'll go to Joanne first for the legal review questions.
Thank you. The only motion required at this business committee meeting is a motion to approve a limited waiver of sovereign immunity for contract 2025-1073 Wisconsin Department of Transportation grant. The agreement itself is in legal order and can be signed by the appropriate parties.
All right, thank you, Joanne. Larry?
Yeah, that's good to know because it doesn't expressly state that in any corresponding document. But aside from that, we'd like to see at the Finance Committee, let alone here at the Business Committee, authorization from the granting agency. Either this is 3 bid requirement or a waiver on sole source. I don't see that. And maybe I missed the language, but I'm assuming this is going to be bid out. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Larry. Any additional responses, Mark?
I'll defer to Vicky Flowers.
All right, go ahead, Vicky.
Thank you. So the state of Wisconsin, under their administrative rules, have waived the requirements for bidding the services out to actually deploy the electric vehicle charging station. In the state of Wisconsin, it was kind of a new animal for us to look at deploying large-scale electric vehicle charging stations. I believe it's called a Section 11. Larry, I can get you that information. I did have a lot of correspondence with the state of Wisconsin on that. And I'll go ahead and share that with you. But they have waived the bidding requirements in order to get the funding out so that these projects could be deployed in an expeditious manner.
All right, thank you, Vicky. Larry?
Yeah, and I don't see that as a unduly burdensome time commitment. We can circulate the bid pack and put a tight deadline, 10 days, 15 days, and move the project forward. I always like competitive bidding. We don't know the price separation when there's a sole source, as I've mentioned repeatedly. And without the documentation in the packet as to the state's disposition, a waiver, that's a bit of a leap for me, at least, on the faith of their expending a state taxpayer dollars. But usually we require that at the Finance Committee to be in the packet, the letter. So I just want to state that for the record. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Larry. Lisa?
I want to thank Relinda for taking a close look at this and sharing her questions and concerns, and then the responses that Vicky was able to provide to those as well. There were still a few outstanding. One had to do with the internal accounting staff needed to monitor the subscription service and do the verification. Another outstanding was who would be responsible for the calculations required. And then lastly, it was still related to that calculation. So I'm wondering, Vicky, if you had any responses to those last three questions or if they had been shared with you.
You go ahead,
Thank
Vicky.
you. Yeah, thank you for that. So the model that we were that was being proposed to use on this particular project was to have a charge point operator and a charge point manager. There's three types of entities that exist in the electric vehicle charging station space. There's charge point operators who manage the software, the transactions. That's the subscription service where they take a fee, and that fee runs between 5% and 10% on the revenue. So if a fee for kilowatt hour is 60 cents per kilowatt hour, they would take five cents on that dollar. And then there's charge point managers who manage all the transactions, who kind of use the software behind the scenes. And then there's site host. We would be a site host contracting with the service. It's like a general point of sale service. The models differ. You can have any mix of those three. And as for instance, Quick Trip, which is doing a lot of these stations, they have a whole separate business entity to do that. I think as the nation and as a business model, we need to figure out what works for us. The administrative burden for accounting can be very minimal, or it can be more inclusive depending on the business model. So our hope was to use this award to figure out what business model would work for the nation going forward with the least amount of administrative burden and the highest amount of return, while realizing secondary financial benefits by driving people to the casino or to other places where we might be generating income for the dwell time that people are at these facilities using them. This project would also allow us to determine how exactly, from a paper administrative perspective, how we want to manage this, right? You know, parking management, site care, site management, all of the responsibility for the maintenance and upkeep that goes on the charge point manager. And then the charge point operator is the person in charge of collecting all the data and making sure we're in compliance with the federal requirements for using these funds, since these are federal funds allocated to the state. They're a pass-through that we're getting. So I don't mean to make it sound complicated, but it's a new and emerging business model that I know, I think there's some benefit for the nation to exploring how this might work. And to Larry's point, I will certainly get the information that he's requested. But my hope is that we can at least start to enter into negotiations with the finance committee about what this looks like for us. And then it's also a commercial retail potentially, or a casino. What does this look like for them? Forest County, Potawatomi, Ho Chunk, St. Croix, they're all starting to deploy these electric vehicle charging stations at different locations, and it presents an opportunity for them. And everyone is kind of trying to figure out what accounting model works best for them. It's sort of like you have the charge point managers and operators, which will help us determine what works for us. What do we want to take over? I hope that helps.
All right, thank you, Vicky. Mark?
And just a note, I did respond to the additional questions that were provided. I just took the Oneida Business Committee off of the response. So I apologize for that. It was getting a bit into operations and the details of how we deploy and conduct the accounting related to this project. We'll continue to work with finance and accounting to square away those details and ensure that the nation as a whole is approaching this project adequately and checking all of our boxes as we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Lisa?
Thank you, Mark. And I just want to make a clarification, just in response to Vicky's explanation. Within your explanation, Vicky, you talked about this as a business, and I just want to clarify that this is a grant to implement a project. It's not a business. If it goes larger, it would be a business, and that would require that third-party review as required by General Tribal Council. It's not a business model at this point. It's a project that could evolve into a potential business opportunity, correct?
Yes, exactly, 100%.
Okay. I just want to
Yeah,
make sure,
it's-
because anytime we hear business, then the ears go up and it's like GTC, where's that third party review? So I just want to make that clarification.
Exactly, and thank you for providing that clarification or that question. It's, we certainly don't want the nation to lose out of any potential revenue generation and to be last to come into the game and then not be able to identify this as a potential opportunity. So this provides that opportunity to evaluate.
All right. Thank you, Mark.
Sorry, just one other quick note. Originally, this was an amenity for gaming. So that was the original approach to this. But yes, this is currently a project, not a business model. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mark. Lisa?
I will make a motion to approve a limited waiver of sovereign immunity for the Wisconsin Department of Transportation grant agreement, file number 20251073, to direct the CEO Nation Services to work with the Chief Financial Officer to address any of the capacity concerns related to accounting, and to direct the CEO Nation Services to submit. Larry, what were you asking for?
The letter waiving the 3-bid process. But answering that,
The documentation regarding a waiver of the 3-bid process to the business committee for the record for this meeting.
Second.
All right, motion by Lisa, seconded by Jameson. Any further
And
discussion?
thank you everyone for the discussion.
All right, any further discussion? All right, not seeing any hands being raised, we'll go to the roll call vote. Lisa?
Support.
Larry?
abstain. I'll state my abstention at the end of the vote. Thank you.
All right, Kirby?
Support.
Jameson?
Support.
Marlon?
Support.
All right, motion carries. Larry, for the record?
Yes, for the record, when we accept federal pass-through money from the state, I think for purpose of audit compliance, protecting the taxpayer and competitive, I'll call it pricing, these types of projects should be bid out. This project is not new. It's hung out there for many months. We should have had the bid pack ready, probably out the door ready, and accepting a competitive bid. So that's my my statement for the record. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Larry. All right, with that item concluded, we will move on to the next item. Thank you, everyone, for the discussion. Next item E, accept the status update report regarding veteran gravestones. Mark?
Good morning again. So there was this has been an ongoing project, and there was a request to bring back an update by this regular BC meeting date. The progress thus far has been an effort by our Oneida Nation Veterans Department. The manager there, Connor Castell, and the Veterans Benefit Specialist, Joseph Valentino, they've made progress with visiting Holy Apostles and reviewing headstones that require replacement. They were able to submit a test request to the Veterans Administration. And so they did send in an application to replace one of our veterans' headstones that was badly damaged. That was a successful completion, although we received the headstone and it is damaged. So we'll have to send that back and request a new headstone. They are working with Gully Weezox to inform the community of the replacement of these headstones, and for those community members that may wish to not have their family members' headstone replaced, we will honor those requests. From an administration standpoint, it's difficult when you're looking at headstones that are from the early 1900s or late 1800s, it is difficult to be able to track down a family member that's related to those individuals. So we're notifying the community of this project, and we have the test case completed now, although again, the headstone that we received is damaged. So we're going through the process of returning that and requesting a new replacement. And then once the ground thaws in the spring, then we can go ahead with starting to replace headstones. So far so good with this project. And this will be an ongoing effort for the nation to replace veteran administration headstones. It's not privately placed or purchased headstones. It's the VA headstones that we are identifying that are badly damaged and need replacement. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mark. Lisa?
Thank you, Mark, for the update. I'm wondering if since it's an ongoing project and there is community interest, if this would be noted in the upcoming, is it under Human Services area, their quarterly report?
Yes.
Okay. I will make a motion to accept the status update report regarding veteran gravestones, noting that future status updates will be provided in the Human Services quarterly reports.
Second.
Who seconded?
Marlon.
All right, thank you. Marlon, motion by Lisa, seconded by Marlon. Any further discussion? All right, not seeing any. We will roll call vote. Lisa?
Support.
Larry?
Support.
Kirby?
Support.
Jameson?
Support.
Marlon?
Support.
All right, motion carries.
Thank you, Mark.
Yep, thank you. That brings us to item F, community concern, Anna John Resident Care Center declinations.
Mr. Chairman.
Lisa?
Thank you. This was submitted by a community member, Pearl Webster. Because we're going virtual today, Pearl has requested this item be deferred. So I'll make a motion to defer this item to the, I believe it's January 14th. I think that's our next BC meeting.
I will second that, Larry.
Or if it's the 7th, whichever the next regular BC meeting.
It's January 14th.
Thank you.
Is there
All right.
discussion on a deferred?
Yes, there is. Motion by Lisa, seconded by Larry. Discussion, Kirby?
Yeah, Lisa, I was just reading this, so I didn't know that there's a liaison to the nursing home. I know we have someone for the health center. Is that the same person? And reading it, I'm looking for what is the ask? And is it a report every 6 months? That's what I'm reading into it.
So to clarify, there is not a liaison to the health center nor to the nursing home as their departments within comprehensive health. The liaison responsibility for the business committee is to the John Resident Centered Care Community Board. There's a liaison to that board, that advisory board, but there's not a liaison to an actual department. And again, I'm not sure what the outcome requested either. So to me, the deferral is appropriate, and then we can have that discussion with Pearl next
All right,
month.
thanks. Thanks.
Yep.
All right, any other discussion? Not seeing any, will roll call vote. Lisa,
Support.
Larry,
Support.
Kirby,
Support.
Jameson,
Support.
Marlon.
Support.
All right, motion to defer to the January 14th has carried. Taking on to the next item, which was the add-on item G. Lisa.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Go over the very short memo quickly, as this is an add-on, so not everybody. The very short memo quickly, as this is an add-on, so not everybody. Second, 2025 special election for the judiciary vacancy. The second 2025 special election scheduled for Saturday, December 13th regarding the vacancy for the judiciary is canceled due to lack of qualified applicants. The term for this vacancy is set to expire July 31st, 2026. So this vacancy will be included on the ballot for the 2026 general election. With that, I'll make a motion to accept.
All right, Lisa makes a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Support. Kirby.
Second by Marlon. Any further discussion? Not seeing any, will roll call vote. Lisa,
Support.
Larry,
Support.
Kirby,
Support.
Jameson,
Support.
Marlon.
Support.
All right, motion is carried. And then the second add-on, request to increase paid election board meetings.
Mr. Chairman.
Lisa.
Again, this is an add-on request, so not everybody has access to the materials, but Stephanie's on, so she can go over it.
All right, Stephanie. Oh, you have to turn your mic on.
If she'd like to.
Yes. So, what we would like to do is to have a temporary resolution for this coming fiscal year of 2026. We had identified early, like mid 2025, we had a number of BC requests and LOC requests that had to be prioritized toward the end of the year, in addition to the special election. And they were outlined in the memorandum. And hang on, I was gonna bring them up. So, I don't know if you want me to read the whole memo. Would it be beneficial, or highlight?
I think just highlight would be fine.
Okay, so the United Election Board is requesting the Business Committee to adopt a temporary emergency resolution for additional 24 paid board meetings for FY 26. And this is in response or as BC Resolution 04-1322B, further amendments to the boards, committees, and commissions law stipends. And it goes into highlight for the whereas points in that stipend law, basically stating that the United Nation, the law provides stipends to United Nation to a person serving on the board, committee, and commission of the nation to compensate the individual for his or her contribution, time, effort, and work for the board, committee, and commission for the betterment of the nation. The law requires the United Business Committee to set stipend amounts by resolution, and the Business Committee is required to periodically review the amounts provided for stipends based on availability of funds, shall adjust those amounts accordingly by amending this resolution. Whereas BC 08-1220C adjusted the meeting stipends limitation for elected entities up to 2 stipends per month for up to 24 stipends per fiscal year. The OB's temporary resolution request is based upon the historical data. So the historical data, again, I mentioned were the 3 BC requests and 2 legislative reference office and LOC requests that were made to the election board, that had to be prioritized with expedited timelines. Those requests were to review and the election board general tribal GTC duties SOP for the conflict of interest concerns brought forward of the election board members participating in GTC meetings as a community member by voicing their opinions. The request to review the sanctions and penalties law and provide comments as requested by the LRO and the LOC. The judiciary resignation and request to fill the vacancy through an emergency election. The 2 meetings with the Legislative Reference Office and LOC regarding the election law review and comments. The BC's resignation, Brandon Stevens' resignation, and BC's request to fill vacancy through a selection of alternatives offered to the General Tribal Council, and then the preparation for those alternatives, which several meetings were held with Councilwoman Liggins and the legal representation Joanne House. So like I had stated, we had identified in May that we were getting toward the end. A lot of the committee members our board members were where they would be close to exceeding the 24 limit of paid meetings for FY25 due to the planning and the FY special election and the prioritized BC requests. At the time, the election board did not know what the process would be to request additional meetings for FY25 to complete their duties timely. The election board discussed several options, but none were feasible due to Chapter 105 Boards, Committees, and Commissions Law, BC Resolution 41322B, and further amendments to boards, committees, and commissions law in the United Election Board bylaws. So finally, the justification is in this fiscal year, FY26, in the first 10 weeks, we've done a lot of prep for the judiciary vacancy. The first 10 weeks, we've done a lot of prep for that. Now, through all that preparation, we had to have hearings for 2 of the candidates, and it came down to, now, like today, the cancellation of the election with all that work that we had put into it. And then additionally, we have to start preparation in January for the caucus and potentially a primary and a general election in July of 26. The additional meetings would also be used because of all the requests and the things that we had to do in FY25, we weren't able to review and update our bylaws, which is required annually, and our standing operating procedures, which are very outdated. We don't even reference them anymore. We don't even refer to them anymore because they're so outdated. And myself, I kind of spearheaded this initiative since I came on the board this tenure and my previous tenure, that we need to get these SOPs done, because we're always eating up time or deferring or having to call in legal or having to call in the secretary's office to get advisement on what protocols we should be following or what steps we should be taking to make appropriate decisions. Whereas if we had SOPs to follow, that would be more efficient and effective in getting our duties done timely within a fiscal year and getting our normal duties done. So that's what our request would be used for. And we had put it to the board to say how many do we want to request, anywhere from maybe 1 additional per month. But the consensus was to go for 24 meetings extra because we didn't know what was going to come or any other requests that were going to come. But I know that the election law is on the active files list right now, and we are in the process of being participants in that process to give feedback and to help with that process. And so my request, or not my request, but the board's request is to utilize these meetings so that we can get our bylaws and so updating our board bylaws, reviewing and updating all our SOPs, which we have between 15 to 20 SOPs that we need to get done because each election we're having problems with, referring to the experts are the ones that have been on the board the longest to, and then legal and the secretary's office to officially get those done. So that is the request, and I just want to thank you and say y'all and go for your time and consideration of this. We did toward when we were meeting with legal and Lisa's when we were going through the options for GTC to say, how they were gonna propose the options to fill that BC vacancy. We did pose the question of, our concern about exceeding those 24 meetings for FY25. And this was the route that we were kind of advised to take, is to create that historical data, state what it was and what we're projecting for FY26. And so that's what this letter is for. Sorry for being so long-winded, but that's the gist of the memo. And if you have any questions, the other alternative too, which was not presented in here, was that, if the meetings, we could utilize the meetings to have a subcommittee for just SOPs and bylaws, and utilize it that way so that those could be done and get done effectively and efficiently, I guess you would state. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Stephanie, for the rundown. I'll go to Lisa.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Stephanie, for going over the add-on request. Couple things. It sounds like there's two different things that, well, it might be three, because I think there's one item that isn't noted in here that was a prior concern of the election board. So one, increasing the number of meeting stipends. So I believe that limit of 24, I'm almost positive that's set out in the boards, committees, and commissions law. Within the law, there's the stipend as the stipend requirement for a resolution that sets that stipend amount. And I think that's where you're looking for an amendment to include some other stipends for some other responsibilities. So that's like two separate things. In addition, what's not referenced here is your bylaws as well. So in the bylaws, in section 5.1 of the bylaws, it's outlining what the committee's eligible for stipends for, right? So it's talking about the 2 meetings a month, hearings for appeals, if you have to go to the judiciary, working at a GTC meeting, those things are outlined there. And then those responsibilities are then reflected in that stipend resolution of the business committee. I feel that my personal opinion, I feel like the election board is a very process-driven board that has probably more SOPs than any other board, probably more than business committee even, boards than any other board, committee, and commission. So maintaining and addressing all those SOPs that really are needed to make sure that we are complying with the election law are required, and they do take time, and they do need to be reviewed on a regular basis. So I would recommend a couple things. One, that the bylaws need to be reviewed. I think there needs to be clarification from the board as to like what those other official actions are. We did ask Chief Counsel to take a look at it, and she kind of reflected the same thing in her review of this. In that is those other stipends that are allowed within the resolution, they need to be more clearly defined by the election board. You know, is it every election board meeting? Is it, 4 meetings a year for, review of stipends? I think those kind of guidelines and parameters outlined by the board would be more helpful than just an increase to the number of meeting stipends. That I think also provides adequate guidelines and kind of the election board knowing like where they can operate, So I think those things need to be more clearly defined in the request. Additionally, I think the language that's being requested, the change to that resolution stipend, like we can certainly spend time drafting it, but I would rather, I would much rather prefer the adjusted bylaws come back with that clarification and then the resolution with that draft language on what those changes could look like, that come back. I think there's an opportunity for this to get forwarded to a business committee work session to talk about, or liaison, depending on how the business committee is thinking on, are they in support of this concept generally? The liaison to the election board, which is me, could, just work with the election board to refine their request and bring it back at a later date. I know we're very early in the fiscal year, but I do understand the request. Additionally, I think one other topic that I didn't see covered in here, and maybe we already addressed it, but I don't think we did, is the cap that's in the current stipend resolution regarding the number of the cap on the hours. Sorry, the cap on the daily amount that an election board member would receive for election activities. So I believe it pays $25 an hour for election day activities, but the limit is $200 a day. However, those days for an election board activity, those can be very long because the polls are open for 12 hours. There's prep time at the beginning of the day. There's time at the end of the day. You could be doing a 15, 16-hour day and you're only getting compensated for 4 of those hours. So I think that there's some adjustments that likely should be examined in that section of that stipend resolution as well. And I would really look to the election board to provide a better recommendation on what that cap could look like, or adjusting the dollar amount so that it's still fiscally responsible as well. So those are my comments, and I'll look forward to the additional discussion. I'll think about what a motion could be. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Lisa. Kirby?
Yeah, I'm just listening to the request, and I'm trying to, my mind was clicking as the request is coming out. I wasn't sure if it was a request to change the amount of stipends eternally and forever, or it's a one-time request for this upcoming election. And I'm just reflecting on when the LOC, we worked on the number of stipends for boards, committees, and commissions, whether they're elected or appointed. I had questions. Is it a one-time request? And currently, how long are the meetings? That was one issue that came up when the amount of stipends per year, because there were boards, committees, and commissions that were having a 2-3 hour meeting and then adjourning to come back for another stipend, when you can meet up to 5, 6, 7, 8 hours to get an initiative done for a board, committee, and commission. Also, the boards, committees, and commissions law, although they have a cap on the amount of stipends, there was never a restriction on how many meetings a board, committee, or commission can have. They can have as many meetings as they want, and it was all due to past abuses of the process or the stipend request. And I do recall seen that, Mike. Certainly used to set up. The other thing is, since the creation of the boards, committees, and commissions law, we've had requests from different boards, committees, and commissions wanting to increase the amount of meetings. And one of the things that I think we stood by is that you can have as many, there's no restrictions on how many meetings any entity has. It's that they only get paid for a certain amount. And then setting a precedent by allowing one board, committees, or commission to defer from the law to increase the amount of stipends. It sets a precedent for other boards, and it will be like an open gate. Everyone's going to be coming, and a lot of time went into that law, and it just could open the floodgates for other boards, committees, and commissions to ask for increases. So I guess I was just mentioning those few things. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Kirby. Stephanie?
Thank you, first of all, Councilwoman Lisa, for that guidance. And I would be more than willing to sit down with your office and help create that and get guidance to move forward with that. And with you had mentioned about the cap for the day of election. There was a it's a permanent resolution that was adopted. I want to say less than 6 months ago in regards to that. Now we are able, and I can't remember the exact, but I think we're allowed to have up to 15 hours a day on election day now. It's not a dollar amount per se, but we're allowed up to 15 hours or something in that respect. But it was a permanent resolution that was approved by the BC, I'd say within the last 6 months. I can't reference which one that was, but I was in attendance with a fellow board member, Skinnador, when that was put into place and approved. And to kind of go into Kirby's concern, that's what we as a board have talked about and discussed in very lengthy discussions. Yes, we can have as many meetings as we want, and that law was created to for all boards, committees, and commissions without regards to because I'm on the library board. We only meet once a month, and it's not very protocol, SOP, prioritization, BC requests as the election board. And so that law pigeonholed different boards, committees, and commissions, which I personally, this is my personal opinion, is that yes, that law was created because there were abuses to the stipends, but has that law helped with that abuse? And I'm saying obviously it's probably a yes, but now we're at the point of now we're conducting regular business, and are we able to get it done efficiently, effectively, especially with these high prioritized boards? Not only election board, and I know that it's been identified like the school board and the different ones that have a lot of responsibilities that they have to complete, versus, like I said, the arts board or a library board or those other smaller boards. So, and that's where we find the difficulty in wanting to be progressive, wanting to do continuous improvements, wanting to look at SOPs, wanting to get all these things done in a timely, efficient manner. Yes, we can have as many meetings as we need to have, but it hinders us with getting quorum on those meetings that aren't paid. That's just to be honest. We had a hard time getting yesterday so we can get the additional add-in to get the notice of cancellation. We waited like 10 minutes so we could get a fifth member to attend. And that was just a 10-minute meeting, but that's protocols that we have to follow. And that's, you know, kind of sad to say that that has to be that way, but you run into difficulties. And like it was stated, the resolution in the memo, once, if you ever get a chance to see the memo that we submitted, it states in there for, Oneida community members to be compensated for their time, diligence, and dedication to being on these boards, committees, and commissions and putting that effort forward. Especially we've had a lot where we've had hearings and different things we've had to allocate time to and get members there for these requirements for these elections. But yes, I am totally open to working with Councilman Liggins' office to get this moving forward. And just let me know what that entails, and so I can bring that back to the board. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Stephanie. And it is Secretary Liggins.
Oh, Secretary Liggins, I'm sorry.
We'll go to Marlon.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I see, so we can have the materials in front of us, and we can have an open discussion. I'll just leave it at that. I think the BC work session is our best bet to move forward, so we can work all these different nuances out. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Marlon. Joanne?
Thank you very much. I have reviewed the election board's request, the boards, committees, and commissions law, and submitted a memorandum to the business committee regarding the application of the law to this request. The law allows for only two types of stipends, a meeting stipend or and other. Under the meeting stipends, the law is very clear and there is no leeway within the law. There can only be 24 meeting stipends per year. It is under section 13-7, other stipends, that the business committee can determine if and when any other stipends are appropriate to compensate the members of entities for their official actions. Under the resolution, 41322B, and as amended in July, the election board receives three different types of stipends: one for attending a duly called meeting, one for election day activities, and one for counting at general tribal council meetings. Based on this review of the law and the current resolution as updated in July, the request of the election board as presented cannot be undertaken by the business committee because you are prohibited from authorizing any additional meeting stipends. On the other hand, you can potentially authorize other stipends, but they should be clearly identified. I would suggest a motion to direct the election board liaisons to work with the election board to review the bylaws, to identify options and necessary resolution language, if needed, to regarding other stipends under section 105.13-7. The other part of this issue, though, is looking at how in this particular circumstances, the Legislative Operating Committee can work with the election board to meet during their meeting times to go over laws that it is considering identifying that they have limitations on when they can meet because they are an elected board, committee, or commission, not a full-time employee of the nation. And so meeting those different occasions or meeting when the election board is meeting to try to combine some of those activities. But in general, the business committee cannot take action today regarding additional stipends. That needs to be done within a resolution, and it won't allow for the business committee to authorize additional meetings. The business committee would have to identify under other stipends, such as working on amendments to the law or other laws affecting election board related activity, working on review and updating election related SOPs, working on specific projects such as when a vacancy on the business committee occurs. And the question is, are you looking at an hourly payment? Are you looking at some stipend? Is it equal to what they receive for the meeting, or is it some other amount that's paid for that? So I think that discussion needs to occur at the election board meeting so you can fully identify what exactly is the request and what is the potential impact. Thank you very much.
Joanne, Lisa?
Thank you, Joanne. I will make a motion. Because I think, yes, I can assist, but I think, the attorney that's assigned can assist as well, knowing that that we're looking for the review of the, that further clarification on what additional stipends could or should be paid, having that identified more clearly within the bylaws, and then the adjustment to the resolution. So, I can certainly assist with that. I will make a motion to defer the request back to the United Election Board for further refinement to include possible changes to the United Election Board bylaws and to BC Resolution 7925A, further amendments to the boards, committees, and commissions law stipends. That is my motion. I do want to just note as well, I know Kirby had some comments on, concerns about opening the door, why the stipends were set up the way they were, those types of things. I do tend to agree that the change that was made by the business committee to put a cap on, the number of meetings, I think was appropriate and fiscally responsible. But again, it did paint all appointed boards, committees, and commissions with the same stroke, all elected boards, committees, and commissions with the same. And they do, as Stephanie pointed out, have different levels of responsibility within their duties. Within that stipend payment, just to be clear, there are a variety of resolutions that are authorized. There's resolutions for not just their regular meetings, the 1 per month for appointed and 2 per month for elected. But it also authorized stipends for joint meetings, the business committee. It talks about judiciary hearings attend. It also has miscellaneous stipends that talks about specific act. Be clarified that correction was made in July of this year. It talks about general tribal council meetings. It talks about the interview and job screening selection process, and also payment that could be received for attending full day conferences, and provide some limitation on what those official actions are, need to be made before we can take any action, and that needs to be reflected in the bylaws and the resolution. Thus the motion that I've made. Okay, I'm done talking.
All right, thank you, Lisa. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Seconded by Jameson. All right, we'll go to Stephanie. Oh, you're muted, Stephanie.
I just wanted to clarify if going back, because our rationale, our request was just a temporary for FY26. What, from the standpoint of the discussion that I'm hearing, is possibly making a permanent amendment? Is that kind of the direction we should go, or just keep it as a temporary request for FY26?
Lisa.
I think that determination would really be coming from the election board. If there's a thorough review of the election board, if there's some additional stipends or under that miscellaneous section, that could be something that could be further defined by resolution for a single fiscal year. However, if this is an ongoing issue, I think that looking back at the past activities of the election board would then inform whether or not the election board would want to look at a more permanent adjustment to their bylaws and a proposed language for an amended resolution. So either of those options are viable.
Thank you for that clarification.
All right, thank you, Kirby.
Yeah, and I just wanted to remind, I guess, to everyone, when the LOC is creating these laws, they do have community meetings. All the boards, committees, and commission members were invited to all the meetings that we had for input. So we did have some input. Some boards, committees, and commission just ignored it. But when laws like this are created, it's not just the business committee or the LOC. There are open meetings, and we look for input and advice on bettering the laws. But there were community meetings, and all boards, committees, and commissions were invited to some of the work meetings when the law was being created. And so I don't think it was just the LOC or the business committee that put this together. It was a combination of community members and input from other boards, committees, and commissions. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Kirby. Any other discussion? All right, not seeing any hands being raised. We will go to the roll call vote. Lisa made the motion, seconded by Jameson. Lisa,
Support.
Larry,
Support.
Kirby,
Support.
Jameson,
Support.
Marlon.
Support.
All right, motion carries. All right, thank you everyone for the discussion. Thank you, Stephanie, for being on and available.
Thank you.
All right, next section is tribally chartered entities, which is scheduled for 11:30 on the old agenda. I know in the past we've just ran through them and sent notice that actions or questions were raised. So I think we'll go ahead and Lisa.
For the Bay Bank Corporation report, as you're aware, Jeff Ballman joined us from Washington, D.C. yesterday. He's on travel back to Wisconsin, so he would not be available. Nate had planned on joining us if needed. I believe John Brenninger joined the meeting earlier for item number 2. Myself, I don't have any questions on any of the open session reports from any of the elected entities. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So I guess we could probably just go ahead and run through the reports. They are submitted. Take action, or if there's questions, we can have the liaison follow up with the chartered entity with those questions, and we'll just notify them that action's taken. Number 1, accept the Bay Bank Corporation fiscal year 25 fourth quarter report. Any questions or actions?
Motion to accept the report. Larry.
Support.
Motion by Larry, second by Kirby. Any further discussion? Not seeing any. Roll call vote. Lisa,
Support.
Larry,
Support.
Kirby,
Support.
Jameson,
Support.
Marlon.
Support.
All right, thank you. Motion carries. Moving on to item 2, accept the Oneida ESC Group LLC fiscal year 25 fourth quarter report. Any discussion or action?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Kirby,
Marlon.
seconded by Marlon. Discussion? Not seeing any. Roll call vote. Lisa,
Support.
Larry,
Support.
Kirby,
Support.
Jameson,
Support.
Marlon.
Support.
All right, motion carries. Item 3, accept the United Gulf Enterprise fiscal year 25 fourth quarter report. Any questions or action?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Kirby, seconded by Marlon. Discussion? Seeing none, we'll roll call vote. Lisa,
Support.
Larry,
Support.
Kirby,
Support.
Jameson,
Support.
Marlon.
Support.
All right, motion carries. And then item 4, accept the United Youth Leadership Institute fiscal year 25 fourth quarter report. Any questions or actions?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Kirby,
Second.
seconded by Marlon. Any further discussion? Not seeing any. Roll call vote. Lisa,
Support.
Larry,
Support.
Kirby,
Support.
Jameson,
Support.
Marlon.
Support.
All right, motion carries. That takes care of that section. Moving on to General Tribal Council. Petitioner Kimberly Schultz, petition number 2025-03. I think this is our status updates, accept the status or the statement of effect update regarding petition number 2025-03, which was not submitted. Jameson?
Yeah, Mr. Chair. Yes, the statement of effect isn't included, but we do have until January 14th, that BC meeting, to get that on the agenda. I think the deadline is January 6th to get it on the agenda. So the Legislative Operating Committee will be looking to get the statement of effect for this petition added to the next BC meeting agenda. Thank you.
All right, any other discussion or acceptance of the verbal update? Lisa?
So moved.
Motion by Lisa, seconded by
Marlon.
Marlon to accept the verbal update. Any other discussion? Lisa, your hand is still up? Okay. All right. No other discussion. We'll go to roll call vote. Lisa?
Support.
Larry?
Support.
Kirby?
Support.
Jameson?
Support.
Marlon?
Support.
All right. Motion carries. Item 2, accept the legal review status update regarding petition number 2025-03.
Thank you. We issued a supplemental memorandum for this this morning. You should have received it in your email. I forwarded it to BC Agenda Request so that it gets in the file. Ultimately, the legal opinion identified that the petition does not meet the requirement of the nation's general welfare law, which is put in place in order to protect members from inadvertent taxable consequences by failure to meet the general welfare exclusion under the IRS regulations. The other, and it also doesn't meet any request under the United Nations per capita law. So there was no way for us to review this that would authorize it to move forward. To that extent, as a result of the General Tribal Council meeting, which adopted the budget, we've issued a supplemental opinion. That opinion identifies that the adoption of the 2026 budget creates a prohibitive obstacle to the general tribal consideration of this petition. The budget and finances law states that after the budget is adopted, amendments of the budget shall not be permitted unless it's necessary to avoid a budget deficit. That is not the case should this petition be brought forward. The budget was a balanced budget was adopted. So ultimately, our recommendation is that because the petition wouldn't achieve its goal of meeting an authorized annual allocation of funds under a general welfare exclusion payment, that the business can approve this petition to move forward to the General Tribal Council.
Mr. Chairman, thank you, Joanne, for the recap of the handouts for this item. Both the full legally been based upon violation of the Constitution. I understand the position within the legal opinion, noting that what appears to be the goal of the petition can't be met or reached by putting this on a General Tribal Council agenda because of the non-compliance with the law, but the petition itself, I don't see where it's noting that the petition itself is in. I feel like there's a difference between a violation of like a constitutional issue, or I guess you know what I'm trying to say, I think. So I'm wondering if you could provide some additional context to that, because I think there's a difference between not achieving an interpreted goal and violation of a law.
Yes. Historically, the business committee has utilized its responsibilities under the Constitution as delegated by the General Tribal Council to not move forward a petition which would clearly result in a violation of the Oneida Nation Constitution. There have been other circumstances in the past where the business committee has received a petition which would violate federal law. Most likely that violation of federal law would have been in regards to per capitas. There have also been petitions that move forward that would have been in violation of tribal law, such as with the current judiciary being a constitutional entity, the Appeals Commission being a General Tribal Council entity in the past. That delegated judicial authority away from the General Tribal Council by that body would prohibit them from taking action that would seem to be judicial. The only other items that the business committee has not moved forward to the General Tribal Council in regards to petitions are those removal petitions. And that is based under two different authorities. One prior to the current removal law, it didn't meet the requirements of the Constitution. Under the removal law itself, it didn't meet the requirements of the removal law. So the business committee authorized to not move forward with that petition. I think that in this case, presenting a petition that would clearly result in significant violation of a federal law or regulation in regards to taxable consequences, not only to individual members who receive this, plus to the tribe itself, the nation itself, in regards to fines and penalties that, as everyone is aware, the IRS is particularly strong, and that would be fines accruing on a daily basis. It could become very significant and undermine any attempt to move forward with a GWE payment. I believe that this is one of those circumstances where the business committee may utilize its discretion and say and identify that there being no way to move this petition forward and meet the requirements of federal law, avoiding taxable consequences to individuals, would be a sufficient position, pardon me, I overspoke what I was thinking. It would be a significant foundation for the business committee to not move a petition forward. In the alternative, you could move the petition forward, recognizing that there is no action that the General Tribal Council could take, which would be within the law and avoid potential tax consequences. So you're correct, Secretary Leeds.
All right, thank you, Joanne. Any follow-up question, Lisa? Okay, all right, we'll go to community member Kimberly. You have 5 minutes, thank you.
Good morning. I just wanted to ask a question, and I'm pretty sure I know the answer based on the discussion already, but my original petition does include additional fiscal years other than 2026. So I'm going to assume that the same answers are going to hold true for 27, 28, 29, and 30. So with the approval of the budget, does it basically knock this whole petition out? Or are we going to go forward and look at the additional fiscal years? Thank you.
All right, thank you for your question, Joanne.
Thank you. The legal opinion that was initially submitted didn't address the fact that the current fiscal year's budget being adopted would be a prohibition. It was in regards to the petition as a whole across all of those have to conduct this same analysis. And the same analysis will continue to be true as identified in the legal opinion, that it doesn't come and it has questionable language and actions that would tend to make it not a GWE payment recognized as non-taxable under federal law, GWE payment recognized as non-taxable under federal law and regulation, and potentially have a significant fines and penalties issued against tribal members. So it from that part of the legal opinion, it doesn't matter which fiscal year you're talking about. It will be the same for every one of them. So to that extent, it's not relevant with which fiscal year you're talking about. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your response, Joanne. Any other further questions? This topic. All right, there is no motion on the floor at this point. Looking for action or additional discussion. Joanne?
Thank you. I don't believe the request for this legal opinion is to accept it and the supplement as submitted. I believe the business committee also has on its agenda the fiscal analysis, and you would need to look at both documents to make a final decision on this matter. So motion to accept the legal opinion and the supplemental legal opinion is recommended.
All right, thank you, Joanne. Lisa?
Thank you, Joanne. I will make that motion and also add on to forward the discussion regarding next steps to the petition to the probably needs to be a special work session because we don't have one scheduled until February, or perhaps it could be is that next meeting in January is where we'll have the statement of effect as well, right? So we'll have to, and maybe I won't add it to the motion. We'll have to have some sort of discussion at some point. I know our schedules are really full the next couple months, and a determination on next steps we'll have to do when we probably present the packet. So just everybody gets a heads up if we're not making a decision today, which is I'm fine with because I definitely need to think about it more. So just a motion to accept the legal opinion and the supplemental legal opinion. Thank you for letting me talk through that motion.
All right. Lisa makes a motion. Is there a second?
Second, Larry.
Seconded by Larry. Any further discussion? Not seeing any, we'll roll call vote. Lisa?
Support.
Larry?
Support.
Kirby?
Support.
Jameson?
Support.
Marlon?
Support.
All right, motion carries. That brings us to, oh, go ahead, Lisa.
I just want to note for Kimberly, the supplemental, for today, Kimberly, so we'll make sure to get you the additional handout for the supplemental legal opinion as well.
Great, thank you.
All right, then with that, we will move on to the next item, which is to accept the fiscal impact statement status update regarding petition number 2025-03.
So moved.
Motion by Lisa,
Second, Marlon.
second by Marlon. Discussion? Not seeing any, we'll roll call vote. Lisa,
Support.
Larry,
Support.
Kirby,
Support.
Jameson,
Support.
Marlon.
Support.
All right, motion carries. And that brings us to our final item in open session, which is to accept the memorandum regarding the Cornerstone facility use for general travel council meetings. Lisa Summers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this item starts on page 310 of your packet. This is the report out that was requested by the Oneida Business Committee regarding some additional diligence on the Cornerstone facility to see what the potential was to host a GTC meeting there. The logistics coordinator for GTC meetings, Trish King, and I were able to go over to the facility, do a walkthrough. Of course, the addition is not complete yet. So but we did address, or we did include the schematic design of the facility and the addition. So that is in your materials for review. We definitely think that the facility has some potential when the addition is finally completed. Right now, the current aspects of the facility, though, has several drawbacks and things that we feel would be very hard to overcome from a logistics perspective of the way that the current facility is laid out. And in the memorandum, we go over things such as the parking and the traffic flow, the accessibility, the seating, the availability of AV and other things such as the screens and technology, concessions, and making sure that there's food available. And then the common spaces. One of the positive things that we do know about the facility was that there was adequate restrooms, facilities available for a large crowd. So that was good. But at this point in time, we would not recommend pursuing the use of the Cornerstone facility as an alternative location for GTC meetings. I think that both Trish and I can go back and revisit it once the addition is completed. At this point, we would not suggest that. One of the things that we didn't include in here at this point, we would not suggest that. One of the things that we didn't include in here also, though, just to note, is that the scheduling for the facility is also very tight as well, because they do have all of their hockey practices in there and some other events. So that would be something that would need to be highly coordinated with the group. It's not something where, like with the hotel, where we can call and say, give us available dates. We would need to know those things ahead of time and probably plan like a year in advance to be able to do those larger meetings, probably such as like the semi-annual, the annual, and the budget. But it is definitely something that we did talk with them about, that we have the opportunity to think about that moving forward.
All right. Thank you, Lisa, for the overview. We'll go to Kirby.
Yeah, the Cornerstone is that the ice skating rink thing also?
Yes, that's
Yes.
correct.
Yeah. And do we currently have some kind of agreement? So I got a call yesterday regarding that we gave $1 million to this building. I don't recall it, but they said, what do we get with this Cornerstone? Are we in a partnership with them, or what is the current relationship we have with them, other than looking at it to hold GTC meetings?
Lisa Liggins.
Thanks. I believe something came through the finance committee agenda for this. I believe it was a sponsorship through gaming. Maybe Chad could remind us. Thank you.
Chad.
Yeah, thank you. This was a partnership that we vetted through our marketing department that we wanted to go in, and it's actually the naming rights for the outside of the entrance for the new building that's going up, and that we had some mock-ups done. We're looking at implementing that over this summer as they complete it. It also entails us being able to advertise our casino and our sports book, which individuals can make bets at that facility on their app. And we did use Placer AI. Just to clear, yes, it was a $1 million sponsorship for over 20 years. And this will be the third payment of this, will be presented tomorrow morning at the finance committee. And we used some technology, AI Placer, to determine if it was feasible for us to move forward with this. And we know that the potential out there and customers that it's going to draw. Not only that, will be the hotel of choice for any hockey team coming in there. And we're always seeing being the recipients of that. As I just noticed, they have over 100 room nights at the hotel this weekend for hockey teams coming in.
All right. Thank you, Chad. Kirby.
Yeah, Chad, and with that, I don't know if it's a partnership or a marketing venue. Is the tribe entitled to any use of the building, or?
Yes, as Lisa mentioned, when we were going through this negotiation with them, we had included the ability, if we wanted to have GTC meetings. We also have some other assets that we can share the asset listing with the committee. We can go over that in our finance committee, and we can grab some notes out of there to share with the committee when it comes for the approval of the finance committee meeting minutes. Unless you would like that earlier, we can also do that. So there are some things that the community can utilize the skating rink for.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
And then Chad, I know this is a gaming initiative, so if there's other questions that come up from community members, is there a particular area that those questions should be directed to yourself or to marketing?
If you could have them sent to Brenda Buckley Mendola as well as myself, and at least one of us will be able to get back to the community on those questions.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
That's very helpful, so we know where to refer people, as it's a operational decision.
Lisa?
I will make a motion to accept the memorandum regarding the use of the facility for GTC meetings as information.
Lisa makes a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that, Marlon.
Second by Marlon. Any further discussion? Lisa?
I just want to thank Lisa Summers and the logistics team for putting this together. I think that the suggestion or the follow-up, Lisa, that you noted that, maybe taking a look at it once the facility is completed is something that we can definitely take a look at. But I know this was something that was asked about as this could be an emergent issue sooner than later. So we, tried to do our best to find a solution. So thank you for the work on that.
All right, thank you. Chad? Oh, you muted, Chad.
As Lisa mentioned, as the business committee is looking for alternative sites, part of our plan that we're almost completed with the bingo relocation, part of that scope is to have that room easily convertible so that we can use it for GTC space. So that was part of the scope of work also. So we believe that we're going to be able to accomplish that if or when we move the bingo hall into the hotel piece of it. So we've been diligently working on how does that convertible space look. We worked with the Gaming Commission and they're on board. That plan is about 99% complete, and it'll be shared with the committee and the Gaming Commission and very soon.
All right, thank you, Chad. All right, any other discussion? Seeing none, we'll vote on the motion. Roll call vote. Lisa?
Support.
Larry?
Support.
Kirby?
Support.
Jameson?
Support.
Marlon?
Support.
All right, motion carries. With that, I believe I can entertain a motion to go into executive session at 10:44.
So move.
Motion by Jameson,
Second.
second by Lisa. Roll call vote. Lisa?
Support.
Larry?
Support.
Kirby?